am now joined by Sohaib Thiab, Chief Product Officer for Tamatem. How are you doing today?
I'm good, James. Thank you. How about you?
I'm good. I'm fortunately not in Jordan at the moment, or Aqaba. It's a shame. I'm usually at these events, but this year we're doing things slightly differently. As a result, I am doing tech support from back in the UK, which means we're doing this a little bit before the start of the show. But luckily, we get a chance to chat, and that's the most important thing.
Indeed.
I always ask everybody when we start these things, in case they don't know what their company is all about. So in this case, what is Tamatem? What do you folks do?
Yeah, so Tamatem is one of the biggest publishers in the MENA region of games. We've been publishing games for the past 12 years.
Gotcha. And I understand that in one capacity or another, you've been with the company since its inception. I know you've done different things, and you've been in the Netherlands for a while, and you've recently come back.
Yeah, so my history with Tamatem goes indeed back to its inception days. I've actually been in the gaming industry in 2008. I co-founded a gaming company called Wizards Productions before Tamatem. That's also what was with Hussam Hammo, the CEO of Tamatem. So we both started a gaming company prior to Tamatem. That lasted for about 4 years, and then we pivoted into game publishing after that company, and we established Tamatem together. I was there at the inception, and then I decided to step out of the gaming industry in a full-time capacity. I worked in multiple other industries before deciding to go back to Jordan and back into gaming with Tamatem about 4 months ago. So I joined Tamatem back there in July of this year as their chief product officer.
Fantastic, returning home. So you've effectively been back and forth, and you've done some self-localization, if you will,
Yes.
which is one thing we always talk about when we're moving between the different regions. We take the conference all over the world, so we're always curious: how do games fare? How are they released? How does the audience react? What are the cultural differences in every area? And in the case of the MENA region, we talk to lots of people who want to, release games in multiple places, and sometimes, and I've said this many times, they think, fantastic, we'll run it through Google Translate, or in this case, an AI translator, and say, right, that's it, job done, and then are surprised when it doesn't work or doesn't take off for any number of reasons. What are, in your opinion, the biggest misconceptions about localizing games in the MENA region? What do people get wrong?
Yeah, so it's indeed very good points. Like, I think it's not surprising that some companies or people approach it in that simplistic approach. As you said, like, hey, it's text, we translated using Google Translate, or now with AI, and that's job done. And that may work for some languages, right? So to be fair, and I think but in the case of the Arabic language specifically, there are a few different aspects that you need to be aware of as well. So first of all, the language isn't simple, right? Like the Arabic language, in conservative estimates, it's about 15 million words. If you Google it, you'll probably find that it's a language of more than 30 million words, and in some cases, it's not. There is no limit to the number of words that the Arabic language can support. And then there's also all of the cultural aspects, right? So even if you do get the translation correctly, there's different dialects, and there is also the cultural aspect of what is suitable from that perspective. So do you want to take it to the next level where you want to localize some of those game concepts, right? So, for example, the use of alcohol, for example, in certain areas of the region is frowned upon, is not allowed. Culturally, it's not something that you would want to have in your game, because people will not like to see that. So we take the launch of the Arabic version of that game down to those details, right?
And you obviously publish games that are produced within the region. And, if you go head over onto, in our case, Google Play, but other app stores are available in the MENA region, of course. What are the types of games that do prove popular over there? Because I noticed there are some genres that don't pop up as much. And then there are some things where, for example, in the West, there's lots of poker-style games. Whereas I notice in the MENA region, there's a popularity of like the VIP series, where it's got lots of tabletop-style games that people gather to play together, and they've been digitized. What does work in the region?
So typically, indeed, like good examples that you mentioned already there, right? So indeed, like poker games or other types of games, similar to poker, don't do well. Also because it's a religious topic, right? But other games do extremely well that are social games. So you mentioned the VIP games. Indeed, we have a number of hit games that work extremely well, like Balut, VIP Balut, or VIP Jalsat. Like so card multiplayer social games typically do well because they also do well offline. So these are
Yeah.
the types of games that people, gather around from in a family context, or when you go out with your friends. Social games, role-playing games, multiplayer strategy games also do extremely well in the region, and they also do well for other developers or publishers as well.
Yeah, I did notice actually when I was looking through the list that you've made a shift recently where you published there was an anime RPG, I think it's called Land of Heroes that appeared, and
Yes, yes,
that stuck out to me as like that's actually not something I see a lot of in the region,
yeah.
and it feels like something like a bold swing. Now, is that something where you're noticing tastes are shifting, that there is now room for this kind of thing in the area, or is it more like a toe in the water, let's see how folks react?
So that one, like the Land of Heroes, is a very interesting one because indeed it's an anime RPG game, and for us, this wasn't a big. It was definitely something that we sort of like a toe in the water, as you
Mm,
expressed it. But at the same time, we know that there's a massive anime following in the region as well.
right.
So we did lots of testing. Obviously, before we took on the game, it was also coming up from a strong developer, and it's a strong game that did extremely well globally.
Mm,
So it wasn't much of a experiment there. It was more of realizing that there is an interesting already an appetite to follow anime series in the region, and it was just can that would that audience be interested in an anime game?
gotcha.
And it worked out, yeah.
Do you think there are still areas within the that particular area of the industry where gamers or consumers are being underserved? So whether it's genres or quality or payment processing or just or choice, do you think there are places where it's like we've got this covered, we've got this covered, there's plenty of these games, there's still this area that people are crying out for. Why isn't there this type of game or this type of option?
Yeah. So I think payment options is definitely one area that we definitely believe that there is an underserving of,
Okay.
especially for customers that are unbanked, don't have the ability to add a credit card yet to their app store, or don't want to for whatever reason. So
Mm,
that's definitely an area, and that's where we've invested and built Tamatem Plus, which is our alternative payment method platform. We developed it for our own games initially, and then started to offer it to partners as well. So that allows customers to pay with alternative payment methods.
I think people, certainly in the West, that surprises them. I speak to a lot of people, and if people aren't familiar, they don't realize that like there's huge chunks of the MENA region society where it's not card based, it's not credit card based, it's based in other payment methods, and therefore you can't just use Google Play or whatever and you're away. And I think that catches some people in the West off guard because it's just sort of standard operating procedure here. So that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I completely relate to that and understand it. As you mentioned, like
Yeah.
I was somebody that lived in Europe for a number of years, and I completely understand why they're surprised. It's just a sort of like a standard way of thinking. Customers, even in countries advanced, let's say quote unquote advanced countries where there is credit card penetration, typically users have a credit card in their wallet, but they still prefer to pay through the local payment method
Mm.
that's connected to their bank. They trust it more. It's faster. They see the transaction immediately in their bank transaction. They don't have to wait for it for a few days to see it or to realize. So there is a level of comfort
Mm.
using the local payment method.
And in addition to the publishing, you've recently put your foot into the waters of development as well. Is that right? You haven't
Yes.
released anything yet, but you are working on it for the past couple of years. What's that been like, and what kind of things are you working on, if you can say?
Yeah, so indeed, we've sort of like started, as I mentioned, like me and Hussam, when we started in the gaming industry, we started as developers, even before Tamatem. So we started developing our own games. Back then, they were browser-based games,
Hmm.
before even mobile app platforms. So this was again in 2008. So we're passionate about building games. That's how we started. And we, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, we pivoted into mobile publishing, and that has done extremely well. It is still our core business,
Hmm.
and will probably remain as our core business for a long time. but we also realized that we need to be able to develop our own games as well for strategic purposes as well. So that's why a couple of years ago, Tamatem started to develop its own games, as you mentioned. We are working on 2 games right
Okay.
now. One is let's say, is a remake of an existing game that Tamatem did developed at its early days. It's a second version of that game. Basically it's a game that is based on a character that is extremely well known in Jordan. It's a cartoonish character.
Hmm.
So it's a driving game, car driving game where you have a mission. It's a single player car driving game. I won't say more or reveal more, but it's something. It's a car driving game. There will be in Pocket Gamer and Aqaba a demo of that game.
Oh,
Where people
excellent. I'm going to miss it.
yeah. But the game is set to soft launch at the end of this year, and there's another platform game around card games that is also being developed in house.
Mhm.
So yeah, we are getting into it, but as I said, it's something that we're building a small studio. We're working on those 2 games as our first 2 games. But publishing obviously is the core business and will continue to be the case for a number of years.
And looking into 2025, the end of it, and 2026, so you've got the games development going on in the background there. Are there other things that from the publishing side that you're looking forward to, or do you have games in the pipe ready to go? Are you on the lookout for additional things? Should people be approaching you? What's happening into next year?
Yeah, so definitely, and on top of indeed investing and building the studio, we're continuing to publish more games. So we have a game that we actually just launched its beta phase just a couple of weeks ago. It's called Call of Sparta. It's another MMORPG strategy game. And there's another game that is also set to launch in Q1 of next year. That is also a published game. So we're definitely looking to expand our publishing operations, publish a number of games next year, and we're definitely looking forward to work with other developers, new developers, to launch more games in 2026 and 27.
Well, with any luck, next year I'll be back in the country to physically have a go at some of them. But in the
Amazing.
meantime, best of luck with 2026. And
Thank
Sohaib,
you.
thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you, James. A pleasure talking to you, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you next time.
Likewise.